Welcome to the portfolio update. As usual, I hope you'll find this information useful, but disclaimer, please note that this is not investing advice. It's just my portfolio as it stands on May 1st, and it can change at any time without previous notification. Following an investment strategy without doing the work yourself is almost guaranteed to result in losses. So please be careful, since it's your responsibility to do the research before investing. Stay until the end, where, in the bonus section, we will discuss a new way to look at decision making via alternate histories. I think you'll like it. This month, I continued my dollar cost averaging strategy for buying some US stocks, Amazon, UiPath, Shopify, and Tesla, before the sharp drop, cringe smiley face, and in Romania, the medical, real estate and agriculture stocks that I've been adding to my watch list lately. I also purchased some euro-denominated 5 years Romanian bonds at 5.8% a year yield. To be honest, I expect for the first 2 years to lose on the yield compared with the inflation, and the next 3 to be slightly above the median yield. I also got a new altcoin, Avalanche, just to add it to my watch list. But by far, the most important transaction this month was that I started to sell my stake in the Romanian gas transporter monopoly, Transgaz. As mentioned in the intro, we will discuss in the bonus section a little bit about the decision-making process that led to me starting to sell. First off, I need to mention that I only sold 20% of my ownership, so I still have most of it. There are some upcoming developments in the next few months, mostly positive. First, on April 27, they approved a small dividend, which is somewhere under 5%, but I actually started selling before the voting took place. Now, this dividend is not great news, since only 50% of profits were subject to dividend payments, even though the Romanian government, which owns a majority share in the company, wanted 90%. They did vote for the lower dividend so that the company can invest last year's exceptional profits in developing the company further. Next, on May 3rd, there will be a share split. Every one investor will get 15 shares for each one they own, so it's a 16-to-1 split, which is basically the main driver behind the price increase that happened recently. Then, on June 28, there will be a dividend registration date for the dividend that I mentioned, and on July 19, there will be the dividend payment date. Time by which I hope to be mostly out of the position and just keep a token amount to see how it performs next. So, what did I sell? First, this was my biggest single stock at 17.5%. Now it's around 15%, which is way too big, and this was not because of the exponential growth. It was the stock that I bought when COVID first hit and was expecting a much better performance, but for the reasons I laid out in previous videos, it didn't perform as well as I hoped. Some quick examples are the fact that they built a new pipeline, and in the first year they had something like 0.38% usage. Even though the number might not be still exact, it's actually in the ballpark, so there is a lot of unproductive spending. And because it's a state-owned majority company, you should expect some political decisions and some bureaucracy, etc. Last month, I only had 9% of my assets in cash or equivalents. So I was running a little bit low if you take into consideration that this also includes my living expenses as well. So I wanted to rebuild the position. And the thing is that at the end of the day, I don't expect the 2023 company results to match the boom from last year. So even though now the stock is rising, I don't expect it to rationally go much higher, like double not even 1.5%, even though, you know, markets are far from rational, so it might go up due to investor sentiment. Hehe, chuckles, I'm in danger. Anyways, the decision was made. We will see how it will play out. Next, related to dividend or coupon payments, I actually had zero cash flow this month, but over the summer I expect some cash flow to come in. So, this is my current portfolio allocation as of May 1st, 2023. Overall, the active managed portfolio is up 2.08%, but this does not include the Transgaz sale since the cash went from the actively managed section to the cash section, which is not included in the actively managed part. So, the overall portfolio return is more relevant, and that is 6.4% all time and 5.4% year to date. Again, does not include the cost of living, so it's up a bit more. For those who care, the cost of living is calculated once a year in the yearly recap video, so the January video, since it varies a lot month by month. So, let's talk about the allocation pyramid. You can see there is a significant decrease in value stocks, which is due mostly to the sale of Transgaz, which was included in the value stocks section. And also, you can see that there is an increase in the bonds, which again is the Romanian 5-year euro bond. Why I bought this bond is because in a couple of months there will be a significant portion of the bonds portfolio that will come to maturity. Other than that, the things just rearranged in the light of these two major changes. Of course, the cash that resulted from the sale is also represented in the cash, but more or less there were not many changes except the DCA that I mentioned in the first slide. If you found this information useful so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps getting the message out there to more people. Now, let's talk about today's bonus topic, decision making in investing and alternate history. For you, Men in the High Castle fans, you might recognize the map from the TV show. Anyway, you heard me speak before about my fascination with alternative or alternate history, or what could have happened but didn't. I was introduced to the concept by Nassim Taleb, and I think it's a crucial mistake we make in investing, business, and life in general, believing that what already happened was destined to happen and there was no other way for it to happen. So, the definition of alternate history is a genre of speculative fiction in which one or more historical events occur different than in real life. So, basically, they propose what-if scenarios about crucial events in human history and present outcomes that are very different from the historical record. Some real-life examples are: in 1983, there was a Soviet nuclear false alarm incident. The story is pretty famous. Basically, there was a glitch and the Soviet Union thought that the US shot some nuclear weapons on the Soviet Union. However, an engineer decided that this was a glitch and didn't escalate to what everyone believed would be a new world war. Also, there is considerable evidence that Napoleon Bonaparte lost one of the most important battles of the war, the Battle of Waterloo, because he was affected with hemorrhoids. Also, the very famous 300 movie, basically the Persian army, which was thousands and thousands of people, was stopped by 300 Spartans. And there are many, many close calls through history. Now, if we look back at this, we think that, yes, this was supposed to happen, but that is not necessarily true. How likely was for 300 Spartans to stop the entire Persian army? Or the same, how likely was for Napoleon at the time to lose that war? The core of alternate history, let's call it thesis, is that at any point there are many possible futures in front of us. The simplest way I've seen it explained was by Annie Duke, which is a famous poker player, psychologist, and business consultant, in her book How to Decide, as the branches of a tree. At the time of making a decision, a person can see the possible outcome as branches in a tree, with the different probabilities of each outcome represented by how big the branch is, meaning that not all outcomes have the same probability, even though they all are in theory possible. So, the stock market could go down because aliens invade Earth, but I wouldn't bet on it, so that possible future is just a small bud, while inflation persisting is a pretty sturdy branch. I think you get the point. The idea is that even if I make a choice, like for example selling Transgas, and then the stock goes up and up and up, that is unfortunate for me because I didn't capture all the upside, but at the same time I need to be happy with the positive result because it could also go down significantly due to some new developments like a company's bad earnings or some unfavorable macro developments or a million other things that could go wrong. So, how to not go mad when navigating the uncertain future multiverse? We can use a framework. First step is, when we make a decision, like selling Transgas or buying a new asset, we need to clearly summarize what we know at the time of the decision, not retroactively after, when we know the result. Looking at the decision after, we seem to have had more information than we actually did. So basically, we know some stuff before the decision, there is the decision, which of course has a good or bad outcome, and then we know usually more stuff after the decision. Step 2 is to not judge the result of a decision by its outcome. The outcome is the decision quality plus luck. And, of course, by definition, luck cannot be predicted or relied upon. So all we can do is work on our quality of decisions. I have a video on luck in the description of this video below if you want to get deeper into it, and I strongly recommend. Now, over many subsequent decisions, we should be winning more than we lose, due to the mathematical theory of probability, of course, if our decisions are good, but we need to not get wiped out on any single individual decision. The main point here is to manage our risk accordingly. In conclusion, as we end this video, I want to remind you that this framework can be used in life as well as in investing. And here is a drawing from Tim Urban of Wait But Why blogger fame of how our life path goes. This is also the way that decision making goes. I like this image because it gives us a quick glance at how things are not fixed in our lives, even though we believe they are, but rather we can influence them at any steps by our own good or bad decisions. Anyway, I hope you take a minute to think about this, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next month. Bye bye!